Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Brown Murray versus Murray.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Brown Murray, first I'd like to say thank you so much for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Today you say you stand before me outraged because your husband has accused you of infidelity while serving in Iraq. Furthermore, you claim he now doubts paternity of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray, you argue that your wife did indeed cheat on you while serving overseas. You contend that there's no way you could be the father because she announced she was pregnant too soon after returning home.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Brown Murray, what is life like overseas for a married woman?
I'll be honest, when you're overseas at first, I mean, there's going to be temptations, and there's going to be guys that look good, and there's going to be guys all around, and you're going to see guys, but that doesn't mean that you have to cheat and you have to go outside of your marriage.
So you admit that there is temptation?
There's temptation all around, but I didn't cheat and I didn't go outside of my marriage, and I know that in the military there's a rule that we can't do that. So, and I assured him every day I Skyped with him every day. We would Skype every day, and when I wasn't able to Skype, it was because there was a bomb going off or something that I would have to get in the bunker and for hours and hours. So if there wasn't a time, then I would be in the bunker, and then I would get back to him the next day. So I assured him over and over plenty of times.
So you're saying you really tried your best to stay in contact with your husband and to let him know you were being faithful despite the challenges, the danger you were facing overseas?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Mr. Murray, so what is it made you so doubtful about your wife's time overseas?
Well, she went overseas the day after Valentine's Day. My birthday is on the 12th. What made it scary for me, the first time me being alone in another state with no family. My wife is deploying overseas. Don't know if I'm gonna ever see her again. And if I do see her again in one piece, is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on base, younger men's. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or bad conscience.
Because you feel like she may have wanted to be with someone younger.
Yes, I lost 23 pounds, 25 pounds, not eating, crying. There was an incident, like she said, we on Skype, and I heard this enormous boom. It was so loud, it shook my computer. I remember telling her, well, are they practicing? Americans are practicing, and she smirked at me. She said, this is a real bomb. Wow. My wife, in a calm voice, she reminded me that this is her duty. This is she has to keep a calm level. So.
Ms. Brown Murray, you're there actually facing this danger.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know he was nervous and fearful on this level, or did you feel like he was trying to hide that from you?
I mean, I knew about it at times, but at times he was controlling it just so I wouldn't be so scared while I was over there. But I knew about it.
And how about his fears of you cheating? Were you aware that he was this fearful?
Yes,
that you would cheat?
Yes, because I guess he was scared because I had a friend while I was over there. So, I mean, I built a friendship with a friend, so I guess that's the reason why he was scared.
A male friend?
Yes.
And it was also a judge. While I was there in the apartment complex, I met a few people. This apartment complex has 85% of military people, either still active or not. And this young boy told me, he said, which really, this is when I really got worried. He said, in the military's world, when they overseas, they have a group of people, and that group got to stay with each other. If they're there for 2 years, this is the only group of people you're gonna see for 2 years. He said, yeah, there's married people. He said it could be 40 married ladies on base.
And that's not true. That's not true.
Well, this is what he said. It could be 40 married ladies on base, and he says every last one of them ladies would have sex with another man, because on the base is what happened on this base stays on this base. So picture it. Me, she's over there, and I'm getting told this? Yeah.
And that heightened your concern.
Of course. I couldn't
So,
even
Miss
drive right.
Brown Murray, did you realize your husband got that piece of information?
Yes, but that's not true. Everybody in the military don't cheat on their spouse, and we don't have a code in the military for cheating.
All right. So, Mr. Murray, let's just be honest. I mean, this situation it's been bothering you. I mean, consuming you so that you've done some research. You started asking some questions and trying to figure out what are the dynamics that go on in the military. And you brought a witness that can attest to just that. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. He's joining us now, anonymously. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you are a former member of the military. Thank you very much for your service as well. And Mr. Murray wanted you to testify today as to the dynamics, the goings-on in the military, because of course, as you know, he has definite concerns as to whether or not his wife was faithful and whether or not her child is his biological child. Can you explain?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I don't want to bring any discredit upon the military because the actions of soldiers, they do not reflect the military. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of times where you join the military and you're away from home. And so the first thing you can do is cling to people who are around you. You develop a camaraderie where pretty much what goes on base stays on base. You know, a lot of times, a lot of married soldiers, they would be out and we would go on what they call TDY, which is temporary duty. You know, the unofficial term for it was temporarily divorced.
Ms. Brown Murray, you had a close friend overseas.
Yes, I did.
Is that who your husband thinks the father of your child really is?
Yes, that's who he thinks that I had sex with.
Wait a minute, let me back that up. When I picked her up in November, we was riding around in the car. I'm asking her, I thought it was kind of odd. Why is he calling you? Oh, just to make sure I'm doing okay. Make sure you're doing okay? Well, was something wrong? No. And then that was the end of that conversation.
We called each other. He called me because he wanted to make sure I was okay, that I made it home alive. He left the deployment before.
Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings.
It didn't stop right there.
But it didn't stop right there?
Because when we got our next apartment, she's sitting on the couch. She had bought me some Jordans, and I'm wearing my Jordans. She's talking to him. I heard her tell him, he's not stupid. He's not stupid. And, you know, well, she ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? And she said his name. And I said, she said, the man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
What?
And I said, why would he call me stupid? Because you got new shoes and you're excited.
So while you're giving your husband a gift, you've got your friend on the other line on the phone.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
A male friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so your husband thinks you're being flirtatious. And if anyone would know how you sound when you are flirting, it would be your husband.
Yes, but that's not the case.
But you weren't flirting.
No, I wasn't flirting at all with him. It's just the type of person I am. I mean, that's the way I talk on the phone. It's not anything about it. My husband just doesn't understand friendship. He doesn't understand that. Because there's plenty of males that came up to me asking me for sexual relationships and stuff, and I still turned them down, so that's not true.
And I I
tell
think
you
we
what.
need to make it clear that you brought your witness, and he, of course, is testifying to his own personal experience, and you are testifying to your own personal doubt.
Exactly.
So, sir, is it common when, you return home to continue a relationship, friendship with some of your fellow servicemen, even if they're members of the opposite sex and married? Is that common to continue those relationships because of the bonds built while you were serving together?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because a lot of times when we go to work, our families aren't there. Our wives, our husbands aren't there. So whenever we see each other at work, we can find whatever we can do, whatever place we can go and still continue. You go from city to city, country to country, you meet a lot of different people. And one thing, when you meet civilians, they see someone in the uniform, and when you see them in the uniform, they're attracted to us.
Exactly. Money.
And so, Mr. Murray, as you listen to your witness, these are the kinds of ideas that fuel your doubt. And I am sure, Ms. Brown Murray, as you so eloquently state, that there are people that honor their marriages, their relationships, and don't necessarily engage in this type of activity. So I'd like to thank your witness. Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
What has it been like to come home, to make it home alive, come back to your husband, and then you have a beautiful daughter, and he doubts whether or not it's his child?
It's exciting to be able to come home, but with the doubt, trying to meet somebody and have a relationship, you're out there fighting and trying to protect the country. So it's just kind of hard to come back home.
So describe, what is it like at home?
Even with the doubt, he's still a good husband and he's still a good father. He sits there and he takes time out with her. He plays with her. He takes care of her when I'm at work. So even with the doubt, he's still a good father. He still takes care of her.
I have other kids. All my kids are a split image of me. She doesn't too much look like me. My mother says she's bad like me when I was that age. But I don't, for me having kids, and my kids look split image of me, and she doesn't.
That equates to doubt.
Well, I had doubt. I had man's discharge is unusual, and the doctor told me years ago that it had something to do with my sperm cells were weak. When she got home, it happened so fast. She got home. She never was a type of person that had a very big sex appetite. I understood that. It took us a while to have sex. When we did have sex, it was nothing special to brag about. We just had sex. I don't mean it in a rude way. It was just, it is what it is. So she told me,
the dynamics of your sexual relationship had changed.
Yeah, exactly.
When she got back home.
Exactly.
Which, you'd have to factor in she had been through a pretty traumatic time.
And I took that in consideration too. That's why I never scolded her on that. I never had an attitude.
Okay.
It is what it is. And I remember it, a long day at 10:30 at night. She wakes me up. Now I'm sleepy. She knows not to mess with me when I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy.
Me either.
And then she tells me she's pregnant. She shows me the pregnancy test. Well, Your Honor, you can barely see the line. Barely see the line to come all the way through. You can't hardly see it. So she convinced me, because I seen the line from the beginning to end, a very, very thin line.
Okay.
So I says, well, listen, to confirm this, let's just go on base. And let's get the pregnancy test done there.
And you did?
And we did. And the lady came back, to my surprise, yes, she's pregnant.
And so how soon after she returned home from Iraq did this pregnancy announcement happen?
She came home in November.
Okay.
I'm saying in December.
So that was a few weeks?
Yes.
So given the fact the doctor had already told you had a low sperm count.
Yeah, that's true.
You've been together for amount of time before she leaves for overseas and she never got pregnant.
Never did.
Then she comes back home, and in under a month, she's pregnant.
Right.
You say to yourself,
How can that be?
how can that be?
Right.
This child may not be mine, is what
Right.
you were thinking. I think it's time we get to results. Are we ready? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Brown Murray v. Murray, as it pertains to whether Mr. Murray is the biological father of 2-year-old Ty Murray. Mr. Murray, it has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't, my niece.
That's exactly what the truth does. It brings families together, and that's why we do this every day, right, Jerome?
Absolutely right.
Amen.
And so now, Ms. Brown Murray, I have to say thank you again for your service. As you said all along, you were an honorable woman. And I'm wishing the both of you just the very, very best. You have a beautiful, beautiful little girl. Really, really, I'm so happy for you both.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.